It's Kicks, obviously, and you're joining me for bwL versus Valhalla team. bwL, of course, being bwL Life. We have just seen the man, words are not coming to me today. We have just seen Kingdom take down Blackson in a very, very weird game. But we're going to see a 1-1 tie as we head on here into our next game. Whoops, pardon me. Which is going to be a TVZ interestingly. I'm kind of surprised. But we do have a race picker in this game, so let's actually head on over to the overlay and let's introduce them. Okay, well, that gave it away a little bit. You're gonna see bwL's funky shirt. They are the one color that matches my chroma key in OBS, so apparently we need to change that for the round 3 broadcasts because that's a little bit awkward. But with the flashy shirt here, we do have bwL Life. Now playing for them on his off race is going to be Castle. Now Castle was a Protoss player for the longest time. He played Protoss for Ashe in round 2 as well. So here he is as Terran, which is going to change the schedule a little bit. We were going to have a PvZ now, but that works out for me as a Terran player. Hopefully I get to critique him a little bit, but obviously he's way better than me, so I can't critique him too much. But his opponent fighting for Valhalla is going to be hassu. Now hassu, a Zerg player here. Unsure if this is actually Galaxy or if it did swap over. I need to make sure with the team captains. We're in a show match, so it's all good. But neither of these players have played so well. Castle's played before in the STPL, but his stats have been wiped as he has changed teams. And they're going to be moving on to Colosseum II. Now, Colosseum II, a very cool map, very fun in TVC to play, very fun for ZBT as well. You do see the 4 spawns in the top left, top right, bottom left, and bottom right corners. And you see, okay, one of the major map features, you can't see my mouse. I really want to see if I can make a drawing board or something. I don't know how that would work. But the naturals are actually in the main, so there is a ramp going upwards from the main into there. You have the neutral sunken, which gives you neutral creep as well outside each of the main clusters. Which does allow you to be a little bit weird and funky with sunken rushes off of 9 pools and stuff like that. So unsure if we're going to see that here, but the best way to find out is to head on to our game, and let's get started with the 3rd game of our 2nd round 3 show match, week 2. It's bwL Life versus Valhalla team, Castle versus hassu. It's a TVZ. Let's get going. And starting us off here in the 12 o'clock position, we do have the Orange Terran fighting for bwL. It's Castle. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom right 4 o'clock position, we do have fighting for Valhalla team. It's hassu. Now, of course, if you have just tuned in, you can see from the overlay, but we are at a 1-1 tie, which does effectively make this best of 5 a best of 3. So this is going to be kind of cool. Should be awesome to see who's going to take the victory here. Of course, both of the teams looking to make a good first impression to the other teams leading into round 3. We actually see Valhalla team are not in the same group as bwL Life, so both of them going to be looking to put a little bit of fear into their enemies if they can make it like they seem a lot stronger. Now, of course, it is going to be a show match as well, so we could see a little bit, well, hopefully we'll see good sportsmanship. We've not seen any crazy games like Boxer when he used to play in show matches and like the Shinhan Bang show matches where people would off race. Now, of course, we are going to see Castle off racing here, so that's going to be interesting. I've never seen him play Terran before. Unsure how good he is. He was, back in the IC Cup days, at least a C+ Protoss player. I played a lot of games with him, not only practice-wise, but I played a good number of games on versus him on ladder. And I think the only game I ever beat him on was on Pathfinder, so Yeah, he's certainly a strong opponent. Hassu, I'm not too sure about. Not sure of his history either. So I'm looking forward to discovering how he does, and especially a lot of the other players on these newer teams, the STPL, throughout the rest of the season. So obviously we're going to start round 3 next week, and then round 4 will be starting up probably at the end of December, possibly start of January. And then after round 4, we're going to have the grand final playoffs. So still plenty of STPL content to come, plenty of games still to be played as well. Now Castle looks like he's going to go for 1 Rax Fast Expand. Very good map for it, of course. You can see here in the Zerg base, you've got that ramp here, which does lead up to that quick, very second 12 hatch. And now you can actually wall this area as Terran, you can wall it as Protoss as well. You can see there's like a little bit of unbuildable terrain that sort of explains to you how to build. But oh my god, he's actually building a hatchery in the main. Now, wait, I thought, okay, I got so confused for a second. I was like, whoa, he's building a hatchery in Castle's main.
I like your style, friend.
Thank you very much, Marky Mark, for the subscription. Hopefully you're enjoying what you've seen so far. If you've missed any of the VODs from previous series, you can always check them out on the YouTube channel as well. They're also in my Twitch VODs too. So we're going to see Castle go for a very, very quick kill on this sunken colony. Wants to make sure he doesn't get sunken busted. Now, it's not too much of a big deal for a Terran player when they don't wall off, but if you wall off and get sunken busted, you just die. Like, you have your bunker too close to, or you have your barracks too close to the sunken, and you just, there's nothing you can do. Now, he's going to make a semi-wall here, but without the sunken threat, that's not going to be too much of a big deal. Back home, we're going to see hassu going into the lair very, very shortly, I would say. Probably within, there we go, it's just gone up now. Lair coming in for hassu, he's building his third hatchery, likely going to go into Muteless from here, but could see some lurker play. Not the strongest map for lurkers. Obviously, one thing you can see here if we zoom out just a little bit is the naturals are on a little island, and there's a lot of dead space behind here, which makes it very, very powerful for Muteless to come in. And the other thing you can see in Castle's base is there's this cliff here that is very hard to get vision over as Terran early on, so Muteless can sort of fly freely in and out, and it takes them behind the natural. So lots of places for the Muteless to jump in, jump out, do damage wherever they can. Now of course Castle is off racing, so maybe his Muteless defense isn't going to be up to par. Hopefully we're not going to see a quick game here though. We've seen some very quick games so far. But I'm falling back into my old problem of solo casting where I just keep talking and don't really say too much. So that's certainly something I need to work on, but luckily I do have a co-caster in Rapid who's around like 90% of the cast, so it's really, really useful to have a co-caster to bounce off of, to really talk about things. I mean, hopefully you're all having a wonderful week while we're just in a little bit of a lull. We're going to see a third barracks coming in for Castle, and the Spire should be coming in right about now. There we go. So very, very standard play from both of our players. Now, interestingly, Castle's actually opted to go for two racks Academy into 3 racks, so there's going to be no Engineering Bay for a short period. He's going to have to build that for Muteless defense, but it does mean you get your medics up a lot quicker, you get your stim up a lot quicker as well. And I mean, stim's finished, he hasn't quite started range, I don't think. But here we go, looks like Castle wants to push on stim, range just coming in now. But for this point in the game, we may see hassu not actually defending well. Now, hassu's actually made good use of this extra creep. He's built the sunken there very quickly, adding on another couple of sunkens as well. And actually adding up to 5 sunken colonies. Now, there's a bit of a weird thing you can learn about ZVT, where depending on the amount of sunkens there are, can actually depend on what the Zerg player is doing. Now, of course, the reason why he's building these sunkens is he's seen the Medic Reinforce popping out, and it's going to be very hard for Castle to break this. I mean, I would be very surprised if this works. We see a scan going down, going to see the high ground one. He's not going to see all 5, but that is going to be enough to turn him away from it for now. We see the Muteless are in the eggs, wait to hatch. Perfect timing here by hassu. And I don't actually... Okay, so we do have an engineering bay. There we go. So the engineering bay's up. +1 attack is on the way. Double turrets at the natural. Very clever choice to make. Especially on this map. Due to that open natural. Wants to make sure he doesn't lose too many SCVs. And there we go. The Muteless hatching out of all of the eggs. Looks like he didn't quite build all 9 of them at once. So there's going to be a little bit of a lull here as these first 2 Muteless get there. Can't really do too much. Okay, they did all pop at once. I'm just blind, so it's all good. Here we go. The first set of Muteless gonna fly in. How much damage can they get done? He's not making use of this terrain though. I mean, he's gonna sit above it now, but he's kind of lost his edge. Now, one benefit that we do see Castle having... Oh, this is a little bit of a miss micro here by hassu. hassu throwing away so many Muteless there, down to 6 already. And I mean, this is just a lot of dead Muteless. Really great play by Castle, but there's a little bit of a positional imbalance. Like, you can see in hassu's main, this cliff goes all the way up to the natural. But in Castle's, it actually goes up to the 3rd base. So that's a little bit of a benefit for him. And we're going to see the Muteless flying up here, clearing out anything blocking this 3rd base, because he will need to eventually get a drone up there, and by eventually I mean as soon as humanly possible. And now I mean the 3rd base here is quite easy for him to take. He has the Sunkens pretty much defending this ramp already, but I mean Castle is building up a big force. +1 attack should be done very, very shortly, going into 4th, 5th barracks. Or sorry, 6th barracks even, going into his first starport as well. Range of course done very long ago. We see Castle going for a scan on that 2nd natural. Won't quite see that hassu's drone is heading up there, but he should know that the 3rd base should be coming in soon. hassu is going to go in for round 2. He did manage to kill the turret, so he's going to try and snipe the academy. Missing a couple of shots, pretty big deal. hassu maybe not as well practiced as some of our other Zerg players in the STPL at Mutant Microing. But here we go, he's going to get the Academy, and that's a very, very huge pick-off. I mean, we see, looks like Castle isn't going to pull back to defend against this. He's using his reinforcing Marines to do this. We see hassu losing a lot of shots. I mean, that's actually a pretty big deal. We see him going in for the bust, though. How much damage will he do? Will he be able to break through? Looks like speed isn't even done for the Lings. But this high ground Sunken worth its weight in absolute gold right now. But it looks like Castle may be able to break through. We've got the Muteless on the high ground. A lot of them very heavily bruised, but it looks like barely. We should see hassu being able to hold, but hassu's losing all of his Muteless. He's lost everything. The Lurkers have popped. And this is going to be enough to hold on. Okay, so those Lurkers popped at quite possibly the perfect time. That could have been incredibly dangerous. We see Irradiate coming in for Castle. First vessel on the way, so that's just round 1. But losing that round 1 of Marine Medic is actually a pretty big deal. You can see that hassu is going immediately for a counterattack. Speed is finally finished for the Zerglings. And it looks like he's going to try and take this high ground over the 3rd base. Of course, he is on a little bit of borrow time, but here we go. He's going to burrow. Is it going to be close enough to anything? Not quite, but he is going to push down. He's going to try and sandwich the Medic Marine from getting in the base, but here we go. The first vessel is out, and with the tanks, this is going to force back the Lurkers. Now, the trouble is, Castle... I mean, you can see he's got a little bit of an experience with Terran. He did opt to go straight into Vessels, didn't go for any... he is going to go for Vessel Energy as well. Very important upgrade. Don't see it as much. Well, at least I never noticed it being researched. But he's going to go for a 2nd starport, so he is going to go fully into SK Terran here with his 6 barracks. Does need to add a couple more. But the problem, or the main issue he's actually got is taking a 3rd base. Like, where is Castle going to expand? This is obviously the obvious place, but when we do see Hive kicking in, when we see the Defiler Mound kicking in as well, I mean, it looks like he hasn't quite got the Defiler Mound yet, which is very dangerous, but he is going to go into some upgrades first, getting a lot of Lurkers. But is he going to be able to hold on to this tank bio push? He's not really rebuilt any of the Sunkens, So it's going to be Lurkers versus Bio versus tanks, and here we go. The vessel has been taken down, and that's a big pick off. The Bio, the tanks forced to pull back. Pulls back at the right time, does manage to save most of those, so great burrow by hassu. Now hassu's doing a very clever thing. He's splitting the main bulk of his forces up, he's forcing the threat of a counterattack, and we see Castle in reaction, going to pull a lot of his units away from the front. Now are we going to see a good burrow? He needs to burrow, there we go, the burrow's gone down, but Castle pulling away immediately. What a great pull away. And now hassu is actually the one on retreat. He has to get back up the ramp, and he loses a lurker doing it. That's a great pick-off by Castle. Now, of course, we see hassu with this third base. I mean, the main thing he needs to worry about is getting this Defiler Mound up, getting Consume done. As soon as he can get Consume and Dark Swarm going, this Bioforce is not really going to do too much. We finally have another couple of vessels coming in by hassu. We're going to have 1-1 on the Marines very shortly, as long as Castle's kept up with his upgrades, so that's coming in, which is going to be good. But the problem is, he's going to have to defend his gas. I think they're playing on... Oh, okay. I think I get it. Yeah, so, on the IC Cup version of the map, they actually moved the gas for this natural to the south. I didn't quite notice that before, but it's going to be the Kesper version. That was the one I gave out in the map list. Of course, that's the one they use in Korean tournaments. But he's going to have, I mean, the one benefit that Castle has is Castle is able to siege down these drones. Now, we're going to have another couple of Scourge taking down the only other vessel. That's a big deal. We see Consume about to finish up, just finishing. So is he going to be able to do it? He's going to push in. He pushes in, though, before Swarm is done. What a mistake! And Castle is going to have an incredible job here. Now, it looks like he's going to try and do the trick that Aya uses. But, I mean, he's losing so much bio. So much bio going down to this single lurker. But realistically, that was all of hassu's army. And Castle still has a lot of units. I mean, this lurker is going to take a long time to die. Is he going to be able to get another swarm down? He needs to get it down just as the swarm dies. But that lurker... Oh, it's been irradiated. Okay, that's how it died. But, oh my god, he's sending the Defiler in first. There's going to be no more swarm again. hassu with a little bit of a mistiming. I mean, he's going to siege once again. He's going to pull the siege tanks back. But hassu is in a very dangerous position right now. He's got tanks on the high ground outside of his base. I mean, what exactly can he do? I mean, he's trying to hold on with everything he has. He's throwing a Desperation Swarm down, but he's got no units to go under it. And this is bound to be it. Castle has broken hassu. And this is going to be the swan song for him in his first STPL game. But Castle showing not only on Protoss, on Terran as well. He is a very strong player. Now we finally do have some lurkers. There is a swarm at least, so he may be able to do something. The hassu is in a terrible position. He's unable to mine from his main. His natural is fine for now. He could actually take his natural gas again. But these tanks on the high ground, worth their weight in gold. The Marines in a fantastic position. No Defiler in sight. I mean, he's trying to take out this tank, but the Zergling's in range. Oh, this could be a big lurker spine, though. Depending on where these Marines go. Are they stop lurkers? I think they might be. Oh, not stop lurkers. But there we go. I mean, realistically, hassu is mining off of two bases right now. We see Castle taking this top left base, not actually opting to go for the easier base, but that'll work out for him. The lurkers are slowly closing or clearing everything back here, but for how long? I mean, he's got 3 lurkers to defend his entire main. One of them is irradiated, the other one going down to a tank shot. That was a perfect tank shot there. And Castle just with so much production capability off of these 6 barracks. Just doing so much. 5 mats in here as well. 1-1 upgrades. I mean, Scourge popping out the egg, trying to get the vessel. Doesn't quite manage it. He does have a Nidus Canal up, which has allowed him to get a couple more lurkers back into the fray. But I mean, realistically, how long can you hold on? This is a fancy GG from Zerg if I've ever seen one. And I mean, I GG at worst timing than fantasy, so that's really saying something. When we see the Queen's Nest going down, the hatchery's gone down. Nidus Canal's still up, so a lot of these units have actually managed to escape, but the spawning pool even went down. And I mean, what units does he have to defend? And GG! Castle takes down hassu. brings us up to the fourth game of the series. Now, I don't know why I'm showing that. That's the wrong screen. Here we go. So we are going to head on to the fourth game of the series. That was a pretty exciting TVZ, a little bit one-sided in a way. Mainly, it came down to hassu's mute micro at the beginning. Maybe that could have come down to a little bit of lag. I'm not too sure where both of the players are from. I know Castle's North America. Not too sure about hassu. Obviously, I did say I didn't know too much about him. But if anyone knows, please do let me know, because I'll add that to my memory bank and I'll bring that up in the next stream. So we're going to have a quick minute break and we'll be back for game 4 of the series between bwL Life and Valhalla team. See you guys after